Hi there. Today in our literacy lesson we're going to spend a little bit more time thinking about diary entries. So today we're going to see if we can understand the structure of a diary. That's the way that we would set a diary out if we were writing one. So to be successful in today's lesson we're going to see if we can understand first of all what a diary is. We're going to see if we can name some of the features of a diary entry. We're going to identify those features of a diary entry, so find them ourselves. And we're going to see if we can suggest ways to improve a diary entry as well. So we need to write a checklist of a diary entry, but we need to know what a diary is. A diary is a piece of writing which is all about our thoughts and feelings of something which has already happened. So if I was thinking about what I'd done all day today, I could write down, today I did this, I did that. And that would be my diary entry, talking about things that have happened. Now we're going to have a look at a diary entry today from James's point of view about what he's just seen in James and the Giant Peach. But we need to think of what goes into a diary entry. So have a think now to yourself. What do you think you would need to go in a diary entry to make it really effective? I'll show you some of the ideas that I've come up with. For a diary, we need to make sure that it's written in the first person. The first person means that it's written from your point of view. So if you were writing your own diary, you would say, I did this, I did that. If you were writing a diary pretending to be James, you would still do that. You'd still write, I did this, I did that, but you're pretending to be somebody else. It needs to be in the past tense. It's something which has already happened to you. We need to make sure that we use correct punctuation, so capital letters where they need to go. For names, when you're writing the letter I, for me, when you're starting sentences. And we need to make sure that we use the correct punctuation to end our sentences, and if we need a comma to pause, then we need to show that as well. Feelings from your point of view. Now, as I said, when we're writing our diaries, we're writing pretending to be James. So although it's your point of view, you are pretending to be James, so it's James's thoughts and feelings. Conjunctions to explain. There's no point just writing a series of simple sentences, because when you read it back, it won't be interesting. Or if you've had a really exciting day, but you write it all in simple sentences, it won't sound very exciting. But if you use conjunctions to explain that, add detail and lengthen your sentences, it makes it that much better. A rhetorical question, for example, what was I going to do? A rhetorical question is a good thing to ask yourself, because then when you reread what you've written, it makes you think a little bit more in depth. So a rhetorical question is a really good thing, particularly to use at the end, but you can use it anywhere within your diary entry. So now we know what goes in a diary entry. I've actually written one from James's point of view. So let's read it together. Dear Diary, today was a very strange day. It all started when this gigantic juicy peach appeared in Aunt Sponge and Aunt Spiker's garden. Obviously my aunts were stunned to see such a huge peach on that tree that had never grown any fruit before, but I was even more shocked. It looked so delicious that I thought I might eat it all up. Then, as my aunts went back inside, I decided to explore a little closer. The peach seemed to have a huge hole in it, so I poked in my head to take a look. However, the closer I got, the more I realised it wasn't a hole. Could it really have been a tunnel? After that, my legs couldn't help it. I just had to go inside. I stepped onto the soggy, squelchy fruit floor, not knowing what I was going to find. Eventually, I reached the middle of the fruit, which I knew because I found the hard stone centre. What I found, though, was too bizarre to describe. I'll write again tomorrow. James Henry Trotter. So, I've used that rhetorical question, could it have really been a tunnel? Obviously, James knows that it was a tunnel, but he wants to remind himself of that. So, putting that rhetorical question makes him think a little bit more when he's reading it back. And I think that it leaves you with suspense. It makes you want to read what's going to happen in the diary tomorrow as well. So for your task today, I've written another diary entry, but what I've done is I've put all of the different sections in the wrong order. What you're going to have to do is read each of the sections and see if you can sort it to make it go into the correct order, all the time thinking about the different features that go in that diary entry. When you finish that, come back to the video and we'll have a look at the next steps together. Okay, so today our objective was to understand the structure of a diary, the way that the diary is presented. For our next steps, do you understand what a diary is? I hope so, because if you don't, you're going to find tomorrow's task of writing a diary very difficult. Maybe come and have a look at this video again, it might help you. Can you name some of the features of a diary entry? If you're still not sure about those, I will be showing them in tomorrow's lesson as well, but it's good just to recap about what those features are. And then if you know what those features are, can you identify them? If you're given a diary entry, can you find those different features? And could you suggest some ways to improve a diary? That might be really useful for when you're doing your diary tomorrow. You can think about all the ways you can make your work even more exciting than mine was today.